What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, January 31st, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Rogue One, Gary Whitta.
Is that sticking?
That's the new one. I like it.
The Rogue One?
I like
Is
it
that
a
what
lot.
we're calling it?
All
right, I'll go with it.
You didn't want to be Star Wars Rogue One anymore.
That's a clever play on it.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. You brought your dog today.
She's here somewhere, yeah. She's
That's
scampering.
awesome.
I mean, so you put something out on, one of the shows yesterday?
I believe yesterday at the end of the show, Andrea and I,
Inciting
it's
Twitter,
Whitta Wednesday.
a Twitter harassment campaign,
and then,
essentially.
Andrea was like, he's got a dog or something. He's got a puppy. I'm like, oh, right. It was you. And then I was like, hey, everybody tweet at Gary Whitta and say, bring the dog.
Well,
but give no frame of reference.
Not that I want to validate Twitter harassment tactics.
Yeah. But this is like a
by saying
positive
it
harassment.
works. I actually was bringing her in. I already was under quite a lot of pressure from Joey to bring her in. I said I would.
Okay.
So, yeah, she's scampering around.
I think Joey
back
listens to the shows we record it live. So at some point, Joey, bring that dog in here so we can show it off to everybody.
Okay.
How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while.
No, so you were in Canada,
right,
for a while.
Yeah.
So I have missed you.
I'm back now.
Yeah.
Better than ever. Someone.
I gotta say, I'm not glad that you're back, but I actually quite enjoyed hosting with Tim. We had some good shows together.
Tim's a great kid, right?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're always talking about. I think he's highly competent.
Well, again, that's something we say when we're off the camera. We don't talk about that now on camera. That's that joke. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. What you need to do is be part of the show. Right into kindafunny.com/KFGD. Give me your questions, your comments, your concerns, your bad PSN name, new segment ideas, and anything you're thinking about in the world of video games. Then watch us do the show. You can watch it live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. If you're watching live, you have a special job. You need to keep us honest. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or listening on podcast services around the globe. Tim told me the podcast numbers today.
Oh, yeah?
Really good. We should share those probably with you at some point. And like Andrea, because it's like doing
off
well.
Air?
Yeah, well, now I'd be talking up my butt about him. But a lot of people download this podcast every day.
So you told me that of all the, some people are watching it live on Twitch right now.
Right, yeah.
And then people watch the YouTube video that goes up. But the majority, the largest proportion of people.
Overwhelming majority is downloading
audio.
it.
Yeah, as I've said before, if I could experience this podcast without having to look at these faces, that would be my preference.
I understand that. Yeah,
I understand it.
But see that this is where I like to do the visual goodies though, right? Where I'm telling Joey Noel to bring in the dog at some point. If you're driving your tractor in Australia right now,
all you're hearing is people going, "Oh, look at the adorable puppy!" You're like, "Oh shit, I should watch the video."
Exactly, and then we get double the views, double the impressions.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I often forget that the I guess not that we have a lot of visual cues or anything, but I often forget that that's the majority of how people experience it, is just audio only.
Yeah.
So hello to everyone out there in audio podcast land, driving in their cars. That's how mostly I listen to podcasts, driving in the car, yeah.
All right. Or maybe play a game and listen to them, right?
I'm play a game and listen to a podcast?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could divide my attention up that way.
Well, it's when I used to do it in games, or I do it in games where I'm grinding or something, right? Where there isn't a story
just like
anymore.
Boring shit, yeah.
Yeah, well, like when I was playing Skyrim, I used to do a lot of it, or even Marvel Heroes or DC Universe, where I'm just going around farming exo bits, as you know, of course.
Yeah,
DC
of course.
I just listen to podcasts then.
All right, that's a good idea.
Turn it off.
But if like a story thing happens, you would want to pause it, right?
But if you've put hundreds of hours into a game, right, you know when the story thing is going to happen. Versus I just need more exo bits to make an exo byte to make my pseudo armor better.
You know what's a weird thing about podcasts? I've never understood this. People do it with audiobooks as well, but most podcast apps have a button that lets you play it at twice the speed.
Yeah.
So you can listen to a podcast twice as fast.
Yeah.
So it sounds like everyone's kind of on helium.
Right.
But a lot of people listen to podcasts that way because they can. It's like speed reading.
Yeah.
But that just seems really weird to me.
No, I don't want a fan of that. A lot of people, what'll accidentally happen, and if you're at home right now, or maybe you're at a red light, you want to screw with your phone, a lot of people talk about when they accidentally put us on half speed mode and we all sound drunk.
You can do half speed mode
as well? Can drop it down to 0.5.
Why would you want it to last twice? I can understand why you'd want it over in half the time.
Sure.
But why would you want it to take twice as long?
Maybe you're just like, what's it like to be the Flash? And that's what you want to know.
Like experiencing in a different time frame.
Because a lot of people think it'd be awesome to be the Flash, but think of it this way, Gary Whitta. If you could move at super speed, wouldn't normal life just be really boring and slow for you a lot of times? You're watching somebody try to do something. In the hit comic book Invincible, they dealt with this because Mark Grayson, of course, can travel super fast when he flies. Right. And he had to drive down to college with his friend at one point. Right. And he's in the car and he's like, "This is taking forever." And the friend's like, "It's like 3 hours. What are you talking about?" But when you can move at super speed, it'd be a living hell, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it'd be bad.
Housekeeping for you. Remember, today is the final day to get your Kinda Funny Valentine. Go to fan mail on patreon.com/kindafunnygames or patreon.com/kindafunny. Register today. By the end of January, you will get a Valentine from Kinda Funny for Valentine's Day. And also remember, today we're brought to you by MeUndies and Pro Flowers, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 4 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen. Fuck, that was a lot harder than my desk.
What did you hit?
The soundboard.
The soundboard just got fixed?
Well, first of all, I fixed and broke it, so pros and cons, you know what I mean?
Number 1, we're going to follow up a couple times on this Roper Report, but the first big follow-up is all about Nolan Bushnell.
Okay.
Yesterday, Gary Whitta.
Yeah.
Here on Kinda Funny Games Daily, we ran folks through the GDC award announcements, in that there was a friend of the show, Tim Schafer, getting a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Good for Tim. Well deserved.
Friend of the show, Rami Ismail, getting whatever for Vlambeer. I forget what they call that award, but he's getting an award as well for being awesome.
Okay.
And then Nolan Bushnell getting the Pioneer Award.
Right.
At which point we're like, all right, cool. I don't know Nolan Bushnell, but obviously
What's the
co-founder
difference
of
between
Atari.
Lifetime Achievement and Pioneer?
I think I don't know. Now we're just hypothesizing.
Right.
Lifetime achievement, I would say, is your body of work, like, stem to stern, everything you've done.
Right,
And
right.
Pioneer would be like you blazed the trail, as
Right.
Bushnell and his co-founders at Atari and Chuck E. Cheese did.
Yeah, I'm sure if you go back and look at the history of Pioneer Awards, they go back to people that are like super, super old school, right?
I think Daniel Boone got
That
the first
actually
one.
kind of like built the industry. As
Yeah,
opposed,
exactly.
You could have a great career in the industry, but
Sure.
as a pioneer, you actually like helped build that thing.
Exactly. Tim
Okay.
Schafer's been suckling at the teat of the video game industry for a long time.
Yes,
but he didn't make the video game
parasite.
industry. Exactly. That's what many have said. That's a quote. However, the awards got announced. We did them on Kinda Funny Games Daily. We moved on, but it turned out while that was happening, there was a movement starting. Basically, there was something similar to Me Too called Not Nolan on Twitter going. I'm going to kick it over to Megan at The Verge, who writes, but the decision to highlight Bushnell in the wake of movements like Me Too and Time's Up has sparked backlash online, with industry professionals pointing out numerous reports of inappropriate sexual comments and behavior by Bushnell, particularly in the early days of Atari. In a 2011 interview, former Atari executive Ray Kassar recalls arriving on his first day in a suit, only to find Bushnell wearing a t-shirt that said, "I love to fuck." In a Playboy profile from 2012, Bushnell wistfully recalls the wild environment of the 70s Atari era. Quote, "It was post-Flower Revolution, women's liberation, no AIDS yet, and lots of company romances," end quote. It also describes how the engineers at Atari codenamed their projects after attractive female employees. Darlene, the codename for the home version of Pong, was inspired by a woman who Bushnell described as Playboy as stacked. Stephen L. Kent's 2001 book, The Ultimate History of Video Games, describes how much Bushnell liked to have quote-unquote fun at work. Excuse me. Sometimes a very sexually aggressive form of fun, and made quote made sure that the men around him agreed with his philosophy, end quote. They held meetings in hot tubs, drank heavily, experimented with drugs. Sometimes Atari board meetings seemed more like fraternity parties than business meetings. It goes on like this. Other stories of Bushnell calling down to have female employees come up while they're doing the hot tub party, and then coercing them into stripping down and getting into the hot tub and blah, 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 being crazy like that. That all happened. People put this out there. These are quotes from books. This is stuff that was known, I guess, if you had followed through and read all these things and known more about it, right?
Right.
As this happens, I'm reading from Megan's article, The Verge. I won't even say it. Another site was also reached out for GDC for a statement. GDC's official statement was like, we didn't know about any of this. To which a lot of people were like, well, don't you vet these people and have all these? And it's this weird thing of like, me as a industry person, Nolan Bushnell, of course, name amongst names. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. Built
Right.
Atari, Chuck E.
Right.
Cheese, as I've said. Like, I wouldn't
Pet
know.
Rocks, right?
Yeah, was that him?
I think it was.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about. I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah.
Should GDC be held to a higher regard as a standard? As they're going to give out awards? Maybe, probably. Maybe they should be more dialed in. Who knows? Today, though, they put out the following statement. The Games Developer Choice Awards Advisory Committee, who voted on the special award winners for each show, have made the decision not to give out a Pioneer Award for this year's event, following additional feedback from the community. They believe their pick should reflect the value of today's game industry, and will dedicate this year's award to honor the pioneering and unheard voices of the past. So, no longer is Nolan Bushnell getting the Pioneer Award. It gets confusing because decision not to give out a Pioneer Award at this year's event, and then saying, dedicate this year's award to honor the pioneering and unheard voices of the past. So I think they're taking away the award, not giving out the award to GDC, and saying that it's for the unheard voices of these things. All that happens, my first reaction to this was like, wow, good on GDC for moving this quickly and hearing an audience and, understanding this is a sensitive subject, but a big issue. And then my second part was, I wonder what Nolan Bushnell is going to say to all this. Nolan Bushnell tweets out this statement. I applaud the GDC for ensuring that their institution reflects what is right, specifically with regards to how people should be treated in the workplace. And if that means an award is the price I have to pay personally so the whole industry may be more aware and sensitive to these issues, I applaud that too. If my personal actions or the actions of anyone who ever worked with me offended or caused pain to anyone at our companies, then I apologize without reservation. Nolan Bushnell. A whirlwind 24 hours for this story, Gary Wood.
Yeah, the first I heard of it was I saw this shortly before I didn't even know about any of this. So this all kind of broke at once for me. Like
sure.
This wasn't episodic. I just saw everything at once.
Because you were walking the dog, writing another Star Wars yesterday. You weren't paying attention when Andrea and I were
working on some stuff. Sure, but yeah. So this happened. What do you think? What do you think?
I think what I appreciated about Megan's article and what I appreciated about a lot of the people who were like #NotNolan. A lot of them were saying this point. We aren't saying that Nolan Bushnell didn't help form this industry, wasn't an incredible part of it, wasn't a pioneer. What we're saying is, based on what he said in the past, publicly available statements, words from his own mouth, stories from his own mouth, maybe this isn't the time. Maybe this isn't the GDC for him to get this award. They're not saying this wasn't a fucking erase his name from the history books, this guy's trash, all this other stuff. It was, for the most part, maybe this isn't the time. Because there's the argument of it was a different time and it was this, that, and the other. It was a shitty time. Probably the women he was doing this all to were extremely uncomfortable about it, but there wasn't a environment that fostered saying that. You didn't want to be that person. You didn't want to be, I assume, worried about being fired or is considered a prude or, all the millions of other things people get who are whistleblowers. I appreciated that. This wasn't, hey, everybody, fuck this guy, as much as it was the main argument being like, we're on the heels of Time's Up, Me Too, every industry exploding at once and be like, we're not going to stand for this shit anymore. Is this really what we want as GDC, the Game Developers Conference? Is this one of the awards we want to get, one of the faces we want to put on it?
Right.
I thought that was a poignant point to the whole thing. You?
Yeah, there's a number of ways to think about it. I think the whole, not that to his credit, Nolan Bushnell was not making this argument, but it's an argument we've heard many times before. It was the Harvey Weinstein argument. Those were the times back then.
Yeah.
So I'm less complicit because that's just the way. I wasn't an outlier back then. Everyone was at it.
Sure.
And it's true. As someone who came up, even kind of the late 80s, I started in the video game business, and like a lot of game companies were like Sterling Cooper back then. It was all very, much less. There was just much less thinking about that sort of stuff going on. Like people just casually behaved in that way. I don't think that's an excuse, and I think even if it were, I take you. I think that the point you make is right, which is that even if there were any consideration given to that, you're giving the award now today in this environment, and if the people that you choose to recognize and the way you choose to behave should reflect the way we are today and our current attitudes and sensibilities, and we are in a moment, hopefully not just a moment, but at the beginning of a new era where we are more sensitive to these things and we do think more about them. We do take these things into consideration in a way that we just kind of ignored them or thought they were harmless back in the day. So I think ultimately it's the right call. I do think that GDC probably do take some responsibility for not having proper, like I said, this stuff was published in books, right? And
that was one of the things I was going off of. Brianna Wu had been tweeting about this on the hashtag, or maybe not the hashtag, but it was getting cited in articles. I went and read her thread, and then she had quoted somebody else whose name I don't remember, but she was like, this thread sums it up. And it was a teacher who's teaching, video game 101 pretty much, and being like, it's okay. GDC says they missed all that stuff. These are stories that are in the books I'm recommending to students to read. Like this isn't like in a dusty tomb tucked away somewhere. That like this is out there and people know this.
Yeah, and GDC has an advisory council filled with people that are very knowledgeable and know video game history. So it is kind of surprising that this either didn't get picked up in due diligence or it was not considered that big a deal. And
I would imagine it didn't get picked up, right? I feel like, okay, I don't know how any of this works, obviously, but if you and me are on the advisory board and there's a bunch of other people and we're in there and we're like, all right, we're giving lifetime achievement. Oh, Tim Shaver, of course. All right, Rami's getting this award, great. And then it is like Pioneer. Who have we given the Pioneer Award to before, right? You look through that, I assume. What name? I don't see Nolan Bushnell on there. Oh, have we never? Like it would be that thing, right? Of like, I know that's a very important name. I know what he's done for the industry. I don't know the personal stories behind it, right?
Right.
And I think that's one of the things you get as the industry gets larger and larger and older is that it's easier to we remember everyone's accomplishments more than maybe character flaws or issues that again stuck out. And it's also, correct me if I'm wrong, I would think that it's all about the lens you're wearing at the time, which again speaks back to really this GDC is where you want to do this.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine, and this is a shitty thing to say, I'm well aware of it. You read those stories outside of where we are right now in context 2 years ago, I read that story or something and he's wearing a shirt that says I like to fuck and I'd be like, what a stupid shirt.
Yeah.
And I'd flip the page and not think about how that would make everyone in the room feel and how you walk in, like, you know what I mean? Or like they're throwing these crazy parties and getting everyone into hot tubs and not again, maybe I said, he coerced. Maybe that was bad terminology. I'm not quoting anybody there, right? Of me, but like, hey, bring up the paperwork, and then hey, get in the hot tub. Like that'd be like that's weird, but it would be the same thing of what you're talking about. Where I think when people watched Mad Men in context, right, it was like, man, that's a weird, fucking stupid, but like that's cool. Like drinking and on the job is being cool, and Don Draper's a cool character, even though he's fucking cheating on his wife and has different hotel sex parties with all these different people. It's I think it's all about the lens you have on at the time. And right now we have a new lens to it in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point, I wouldn't say the whole point, but a large point of a show like Mad Men was to be able to look back at a point not so long ago in our history through hopefully a more enlightened lens now and to see that behavior as horrific as it truly was and is. And so there's something going on here as well. You know, you're looking back at a specific period in history with all the acknowledgement of like, this wasn't just one guy, this was the prevailing culture. But through that lens, we say, well, look, yes, that, and we now recognize that prevailing culture was gross. Yeah. And now is not the time to be going out of your way to put plaudits on someone who was publicly and very, again, in a documented way, a proponent of that culture. So, and I will say, fair enough. I thought Nolan's statement hit the right note.
100%. I thought that it was exactly what that was my thing. And when I read the original stuff and they took the award, it was, how do you respond to this? What do you do if you're Nolan Bushnell? Do you go radio silent and you don't say anything? Do you come out? Are you angry? Are you and then you put out a statement like this that I think actually hits on what it needs to hit on, right? And the fact that he understands, you hope, and that this is just PR blast, right? But that he understands that it's a different time and that wasn't acceptable, and this is how it is. Yeah, because I think that's the big thing we lose in these situations is, and I'm painting with a broad brush here, but it's the fact that going forward in time, as we all mature, we all look back at what we did and you're like, fuck, why did I think about stuff I did at IGN or whatever, you know what I mean? Or starting off or YouTube videos or backyard wrestling videos and be like, we've all
whether in this area or somewhere else, we've all done things that back in the day, like I still cringe decades later to think about like something stupid that I said or did. Yeah. And again, I think your ability to do that, the people that don't cringe when they look back on it, that have a problem. I think the fact that you do cringe is a sign of some kind of personal growth or recognition that, again, times are different now. What I think is interesting here is there is perhaps, the Nolan a bit aside, okay, so what do they do? Just not give the award? I think that would be a mistake. I think there is an opportunity now to make a positive statement, and I don't know if this is what they are planning to do, but they say here, we will dedicate this year's award to honor the pioneering unheard voices of the past. Is that it? Do they just just end there?
Yeah, what do they do with that?
In the same way that, for example, that Time Magazine put the Me Too movement on its cover for
multiple
Person
faces,
of the Year rather than just one person. Is there an opportunity here, rather than saying, in a, I don't want to say a negative way, but in kind of a punitive way, okay, well, we're not going to choose this moment to celebrate this particular character because there's an association with things that we recognize now as unconscionable. is how do you turn that into a positive? So, well, let's actually do it. I mean, they'd probably have a lot of time between now and the awards, but I would find a way to cut some kind of video together or a presentation and actually have some of these pioneers. So who are these pioneering and unheard voices of the past? Yeah. The point is,
they were unheard. Nobody knows. Right,
so let's hear them.
Yeah.
Let's find some. I understand giving an award to a greater movement, but much like the Time cover, they found 7 or 8 people who represented and personified that movement and what's happening right now in our culture, and put them on the cover. Maybe there's an opportunity for GDC to find some of these pioneering and unheard voices, have them come up on stage and represent the that broader idea.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. GDC right around the corner, of course. March, right? Yeah, DICE is in February. March is GDC. Beginning of April is PAX East. It's all happening. The year's here. Number 2, EA had an earnings call. IGN had a whole bunch of stories about it. I'm going to give you some bullet points to talk about some of the other stuff. Anthem is officially delayed to 2019. There was rumors of this before.
That's confirmed.
Now it's confirmed. Okay. However, EA is fighting the word delayed, saying that, they never really claimed. Like, delay is a very specific thing. This isn't delayed, but it's like, you said it was coming in 2018, but now
what's the euphemistic word for, what's the synonym for delay? Sounds good.
Jason Schreier has a whole great little tweet thing about it, so you can go read it over there. There is a new Battlefield coming this fall. Respawn's title, for the Star Wars title, will, quote, most likely will drop in fiscal 20 versus another Star Wars Battlefront.
Do we know anything about this Battlefield title, what that is?
Just, okay. They just said that, hey, new Battlefield, and there's going to be a Battlefield this year. And then, Respawn's Star Wars title will drop in fiscal year 2020, which is April 1st, 2019 until March 31st, 2020.
So it's when they say versus another, instead of another Battlefront.
Instead of you getting Battlefront 3, you're going to get...
Do you think there will be a Battlefront 3 after the way the last one was received?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the next bullet point. Okay. Blake Jorgensen from EA said the company hasn't decided the timing for the next Battlefront yet.
Okay.
Then, this is still IGN, but they're quoting from Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal reports EA's latest Battlefront game sold 9 million copies, which falls 1 million short of the company's 10 million sales projections. While it's reportedly expected between 1 and 3 million more units will sell by the end of the fiscal year 2018. These sales still put the sequel behind its predecessor, which had hit 14 million by the end of fiscal year 2016 after a late 2015 release.
Okay.
The Wall Street Journal also shares that EA's finance chief, Blake Jorgensen, says microtransactions, which were pulled from Battlefront after the game's release, will make a return in the next few months. EA had indicated at the time of their removal that microtransactions would eventually return to the game. Mm-hmm. Jorgensen says, quote, "We'll do it when we think it's ready," end quote, and reportedly blames the missed sales projections on the controversy surrounding loot crates, which also led to U.S. legislators wanting to limit loot box sales in some countries like the UK and New Zealand, making decisions about whether or not they constitute gambling.
All right.
How do you feel about microtransactions finally getting ready to come back? Because you knew they would. They said, though, they're going to take them out and chop them out.
I mean, I kind of hoped that we were done talking about microtransactions, at least in the context of EA. I feel like I've spent more minutes of all the if you added up all the time that I've been on the show, probably more time talking about this one particular this game, and this element of it than anything else.
But remember, that's when people fell in love with you. When you put on your little tricorner hat and you planted your flag for gamers.
Howard Beale moment.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Well, look, I mean,
got that cough too.
I would like to think they've learned from their mistakes. It was a very serious mistake. Obviously, this is the only way to speak to these companies is hurt them financially. It's the only thing they care about, right? Like I was reading the other day about the Google and, a lot of bad content winds up on YouTube, and YouTube didn't care about it until advertisers started to pull out, and then they go, "Oh, whoa, we must do something about this very serious issue.
Gotta hit them in the bottom
because
line.
We're losing money now."
Yeah.
If EA is If Battlefront 2 had sold twice as much as the first one, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yep.
It's because they can draw a clear line between this contract. Like, it wasn't a bad game, right? It was a decent game, and in many ways was better than the first one because it added what a lot of people wanted: story-based campaign. Story-based campaign was pretty good. It has a lot of stuff. I mean, no one's really complaining that much about the core mechanics of the game or what it was. The game itself pretty much, I think, got kind of an okay thumbs up. It was good. But that all got forgotten about in this loot crate.
There was such
controversy,
a dirt cloud around it. Nobody cared about the quality of it.
That just cast a pall over everything. And again, rightly so, because it was really, really bad. And they should have been called on it, and they were, by people like us in the media, consumers. Everybody revolted against this, and we did see a little bit of kind of people power here. People stayed away from the game, and a bit of media, a bit of power of the press as well. We get out there and said this will not stand. And at the end of the day, again, there could have been a million people like you and me on YouTube in the media going, this is terrible. But if the sales had kept racking in, EA would not have cared about any of that. Yeah. The sales were down. They saw that this hurt them financially, so they have to address it. I don't think they're willing to address it by killing off the potential cash cow that is, the Loot Crate revenue stream entirely. But they are now, at least it seems, taking a good long moment to reevaluate everything from the top down. Look, we don't want to give up on the idea of loot crates because there's too much money to be made. We've seen that in the past, but we clearly have to find.
Oh, the dog's here.
The pooch. She's not visible right now. She's under the camera.
She'll eventually come to you.
We clearly have to find a way to do this in a way that makes us money rather than costs us money. So that means reevaluating how they do it, the pricing system, the chance, the gambling elements. I thought Apple, I don't know if you covered this, but I thought Apple made a very positive move where they demanded now that any game that has kind of in-app purchase, random loot crate system must be transparent about what the probabilities are of getting certain. If there's a thing that you really want, but it's like 1 billion to 1, you've got to be honest with consumers about that. I think that's fair enough. And we might see that. I think greater transparency would be a big step forward.
Yeah, I didn't make the run of questions or anything like that, but one of you listeners wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD and actually presented an interesting question if Star Wars Battlefront 2 would ever go free to play. Because I guess he said the one thing nobody's reporting on is that the game's been getting price cuts since it came out pretty much, right?
Okay.
And so, what is going to stop them? Do you think it'll ever go free to play now once microtransactions come back in? Which is an interesting question.
Maybe. Because
what I could see them doing is putting the multiplayer up free to play, microtransactions in it, and letting you try to get in that way, right? Because I'm trying to think of I don't feel like a game that's a AAA EA game out on store shelves right now, you can just all of a sudden flip a switch and say, all right, it's free to play all over the place. But the multiplayer component, I think you could pull out, and then inside of it, while you have, here's all the microtransactions to get better people and better things and better whatever, there's also one there that says you can unlock the single player campaign for whatever the cost of the box in the store is.
I think going free to play is often, just in general, I think is often a smart way to give a game kind of a second lease on life economically. Because you're going to get to a point where people are just not, I'm sure Battlefront 2, people are still buying it in, reasonable numbers.
Yeah.
There's going to come a point where the sales going to taper off to almost nothing. So, okay, but rather than just put the game on the shelf, how do we continue to get people, paying money to us to play
100%.
it? Well, okay, so let's make it free to play. Now suddenly people are, it's free now? I'll check it out.
And free to play would solve the microtransaction problem for the most part.
Well, you at least get some, I think that doesn't necessarily mean that you just because the game's free to play at the point of purchase, that gives you a license to have predatory microtransactions.
Right.
It at least mitigates it a little bit. But I think that the smart way to do this would be to, maybe eventually let it go free to play, get people back in, reintroduce microtransactions in a way that aren't quite so insidious, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure we've called it every name under the sun at some point or another. But you still have to be very careful with how they're done. I mean, this again, going free to play is something that's worked for Warcraft and Knights of the Republic. We've seen this a million times in MMOs where people don't want to pay to buy the MMO, but it doesn't matter that much because the $50 at the point of purchase that's a fraction compared to what they hopefully want to get out of you over the course of many months and years of monthly subscriptions and buying in-game items and stuff like that. So it's the first sample of crack is free, right?
Of course,
because we know you're going to come back.
Get that taste.
So that may be where they end up going with it.
Let's kick it over to Matt A. Plays, who wants to talk about a different aspect of EA's story we had here. Put on your tinfoil hats and let's have some fun, Matt says. With EA delaying Anthem, citing a fall release window of a Battlefield title as the primary reason to push Anthem to 2019, is it possible that EA intentionally set Titanfall 2 up to fail in fall 2016 when it was released 1 week after Battlefield? The motivation? To lower the price on the Respawn acquisition in 2017. Taking this a step further, did EA do this knowing they would be closing Visceral Games in 2017, only to announce purchasing Respawn less than a month later? I know this is a little out there, but it could be an interesting idea to entertain.
I mean, we are in tinfoil hat territory.
That's all the show is tinfoil hat territory, right? It's interesting. I could see it. I left that out, I guess, or I missed that part from this EA thing, is that EA is delaying Anthem, citing the fall release window of a new Battlefield title as the primary reason to push Anthem. It could be them learning their lesson.
You're not going to release two massive titles in the same window and cannibalize yourself.
But that's what they did. With Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2, they did that. Where Battlefield 1 came out a week, and then the next week was Titanfall. Were they
really just a week apart?
Yeah.
That seems very foolish, especially since they're not even, I mean, obviously in terms of the world, but playstyle, not dissimilar games.
Yeah, and you figure Call of Duty was right there too. This is the problem, where everybody's like, what are you doing? And
people
it seemed like a dumb decision.
Only have so much money and time to spend
and bandwidth,
on buying and playing games. Yeah, and bandwidth, absolutely.
And if you want a shooter, you're going to go a specific way. I think it sounds crazy when you read it, but then when you think back to when we were in 2016, we're all like, why are you doing this? Titanfall isn't going to do well. Titanfall is going to underperform. It's going to get trounced. Like, stop. And EA did it anyway, knowing that. I think that's really forward thinking, and I don't put that past EA and the bean counters in a company.
They spent a lot of money on Respawn in the hopes that Titanfall would be the next Call of Duty, right? Yeah. But don't get me, I really like the first Titanfall. And the second one was very well received as well.
But remember, they bought it after. They bought Respawn after Titanfall already came out.
Yes, but I think in the hopes that they would continue to nurture the franchise and turn it into a big deal. But then they make silly decisions, and Titanfall is not... I mean, would you consider Titanfall to be like a tier 1 franchise? No, neither would I.
Could have been, but no.
And that's not to say it's not a good game.
Not at all. Titanfall's awesome.
I think maybe it was mismanaged.
Yeah. They bought him and put him on the Star Wars thing, and there you go. It's an interesting idea, Matt A. Place. I don't have my business degree, as you know, so I don't know 100% how the business decisions get made. It could, but it's just a year out, unless those conversations were already happening, but you assume those conversations were already happening. But then wouldn't you be pissed if you're Respawn and say, fuck you, EA? I don't know. I feel like someone at Respawn would still be like, if you took out our game, why would we want to help you here?
I can't imagine how annoyed I'd be if I was someone at Respawn and I worked all the time on this game and the publisher said, oh yeah, and by the way, we're going to release it a week apart from this other
ours
major competitive titles. That's crazy.
Number 3 on the Roper Report, also via IGN, the Switch is officially crushed the Wii U. The Wii U numbers have been beaten. Nintendo's latest console has already outsold the Wii U, and in less than a year, shifting over 14 million units since March 2017 launch, compared to the Wii U's 13.5 million lifetime sales. The company's financials are a rousing tale of the Switch's success, which is the fastest-selling home console in U.S. history, and managed to sell a whopping 7.23 million units in the last quarter alone, reaching 14.86 million consoles sold at the end of December. Nintendo has subsequently tweaked its forecast for the fiscal year ending in March with a 33.3% greater operating profit of 160 billion yen from 1.02 trillion yen in revenue. They also put in numbers here for their top 3 selling games. Super Mario Odyssey has sold more than 9 million copies. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold 7.33 million copies, and Breath of the Wild has sold 6.7 million copies. Gosh dang, Gary.
Those are some impressive numbers.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in knowing also, I mean, the Switch in its first year outselling the Wii U in its entire lifetime is obviously a very compelling piece of statistical information. I'd also like to know how it compares just in the first year versus first year, because I think a lot of the Wii U sales were front-loaded. Yeah. I think it tapered off pretty quickly when people realized that the game's not really there, system's not that interesting. What's fascinating though is just the turnaround, right? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I would say towards the end of the Wii, and then pretty much all of the Wii U generation, Nintendo was pretty much on death watch.
Yeah, it was just that they had such a cash reserve, right? Everybody was like, they got money in the bank, but no, we're not.
But it just kind of felt like they were a spent force, like they were out of ideas, which is the one thing you expect Nintendo to never be out of is new ideas.
Well, I mean, you think dial it back a year, right? The Switch isn't out yet, and it's very much the thing where a lot of us are excited for it, but I don't think the more than 14 million people who bought this maybe didn't know about it, maybe weren't excited for it, maybe thought Nintendo this was going to be a failure.
I've said it before, it's easy to look at the Wii U and call it a failure, and obviously in many ways it was in terms of sales, and the games weren't that great.
The games were great. You're going to get eaten alive in the comments.
No, there were some great games. Every Nintendo console, no matter what you want to say about it, there's always a handful of great games you can point to. That's the one thing that Nintendo's never failed to do. But the hardware didn't live up to its promise. I mean, Jesus, I would walk 10 feet away from my console with that gamepad and it would start to fritz out.
Yeah.
It wasn't that great. But as much as I think you would ultimately, most neutral observers would look back on the Wii U as a failure by many metrics.
Yeah.
I still argue that in the greater scheme of, the Nintendo story, it wasn't, because I feel like it was the prototype system that was the stepping stone to the Switch. You can look at the Wii U and look at the Switch, and again draw a straight line, because the Switch is kind of the system that fulfills the promise of what they wanted the Wii U to be. And whether or not they needed to release the Wii U, if they could have just put it in prototype, I don't know. But I don't think we would have got the Switch without the Wii U. So historically, I think it's still, it has its place.
It has its place for sure. That I definitely agree. I mean, you see, that's what I loved so much. I was going to say about the Wii, but I guess even if you want to take it back to the GameCube, right, is Nintendo marching to its own beat. Now, even the N64 with damn, Nintendo's always been crazy. Yeah. I guess since after N64, when here's 4 controller ports, the controllers look really weird. GameCube, here's this weird ass controller with a giant green A button that everybody loves. Wii, here's Wiimotes. Wii U, here's the gamepad. Switch, here's this console.
And if you think about it, if you look at how poorly the Wii U did by the end of its lifespan, it would have been very easy, I think. I mean, obviously the next iteration of the console is deep in development, long before this.
Yeah.
But it would have been easy, I think, to look at the story of the Wii U and for Nintendo to say, maybe let's not double down on this idea, because people didn't respond to it. If you think the Switch is a doubling down on the Wii U ideal, right? It's this is what we want it to be, but we're going to get it right this time. It would have been easy, I think, to look at the way that consumers rejected the Wii U, as they did in many cases, and say, maybe let's not double down and
let's go back to being a Nintendo.
Let's not do another home console and portable system all in one.
Yeah.
And then the difference was, the hardware, it's like they really just did get it right. The hardware is so much better. It is truly a home console and a portable all in one.
Yeah.
Again, I think it fulfills the vague idea of the promise that the Wii U tried to reach, but it was so frustrating that it didn't really get there.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that they stuck to their guns and stuck to their vision, because the Switch is just, I'm sure people get sick of hearing us kind of talk in such dulcet tones about Nintendo all the time.
They're talking about it at home like that.
The Switch really is a fantastic,
beautiful machine. I
just
love
incredible.
that machine. I played it all this trip, to Canada.
Yeah.
Playing it on flights. I had playing Celeste. Amazing game. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Questions pop up about it.
But I sit there watching my daughter play Zelda on the Switch, and I'm thinking, this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
She's playing a full, fat, incredible Zelda game on the Switch, and it's fully realized, it's just, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's just...
No, you did. You don't like me. It's okay.
I sometimes, I don't anymore, but I sometimes read the YouTube comments and people say Gary interrupts and cuts people off.
Do they?
Yeah. So I took that to heart, and so I try now to not do that.
No, well, it's always good, but I think I don't like that. I feel like people give Nick mainly a lot of shit about that. And he's
the same thing?
Yeah, but he's gotten better about it, because it's not a fine line, but podcasting needs to be a conversation.
Yeah.
And think about how you talk to your friends. You're not cutting them off. You're jumping off what their ideas and this and that. I feel like a podcast is boring if I was like Gary and you just and I'm like, all right, and next, it's like nobody wants to hear everybody monologue.
It's your turn with the talking stick.
Exactly. Yeah. Give me the cheer baton. You know what I mean? No, thank you.
So, but sorry, what was the point you were going to make?
Oh, it's perfect. I was playing on the plane, and I played it handheld going there, and then I was like, you know what, this game's so good that I need the controller, and I'd packed the controller. So the way back, I propped it up and just sat there playing it like I was playing on my couch. Love the Switch.
So again, all the success they're having, I'm so glad. The most heartbreaking thing would have been that if it had been everything that it is now, but for some reason it just hadn't caught on. What a tragedy that would have been. It would have been another Dreamcast.
You know what? That's a great call. I'm glad this didn't happen to, because it would be tragic if there was a handheld that gave you console quality experiences and you could take it on the road and
wait, what's the laughter
get achievements
about?
Or I don't know, trophies maybe.
Oh, well, I see where it's going.
If you could just play great fucking video games.
I just figured out where you're going.
The company, they didn't pull the plug on it and stop giving it AAA games, and it maybe if they let it talk to maybe it could be where it could talk to a console you have at home, and you could play those games through something like Play of Remote. I don't know, but I'm glad that's never happened before.
If only Sony had the foresight.
If only Sony had the foresight that when I plug the fucking Vita into the PlayStation 4, it doesn't say device not supported. Number 4 on the Roper Report. Yesterday we talked about Sonic Racing maybe getting another Sonic Racing because of presentation slides. All the stuff got leaked. Sega's Aaron Weber over on Twitter put up, "Hi guys, saw rumors floating around today about another Sonic Team Racing." He abbreviates to, I guess it was it Sonic All Stars Racing Team? He says SART, but
what
whatever.
Is SART?
It's the abbreviation for the Sonic game, kart racing.
Sonic All-Star Racing Team.
I think it might have been. Kindafunny.com/you're wrong. But I just know it as Sonic Racing. I just wanted to confirm it's not a thing. That's from Aaron Weber. So don't look for another Sonic Racing game anytime soon. Gary, I do love a good kart racer. But with Sonic not coming, it's going to be a long time till I ever play another kart racer that's not already out. But if I wanted to know what came to mom and grop shops today, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kinda Funny Games daily show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah.
I like that somebody did actually arrange that. That was very cool. Yeah.
You say something on the show, it happens.
Just make magic.
Somebody
happen,
wants the dog to come in, dog comes in.
Yeah.
That's all. I gotta go. Out today. Frutakia.
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 I want to say Frutakia. Frutakia 2
Frutakia on PlayStation 4.
What was Frutakia 1?
Who the fuck knows?
I mean, obviously, it made enough.
We made enough money that like, let's do it again.
Not so much that we even know how to pronounce it. You should know. It's a PlayStation game. You should know this.
There's too much on there. You know, that's not how it's got to be.
It's too much good stuff.
Yeah. And then Wunderblade is coming into Xbox One.
Vulva Blade?
Wunderblade.
No, Vulva.
Vulva.
No, I don't want to say Vulva. Vulva Blade.
Vulva Blade would be a game I would play. Yeah.
Vulva Blade.
Wolverblade. But you got to say it like Wunda. Like Wunda.
Well, because,
like
I mean, the
Wunda.
U suggests
Wunda.
like kind of more Germanic pronunciation of the W, which
that's what I'm doing.
Vulva. Vulva Blade.
Wunda.
Yeah. Vulva Blade.
Vulva Blade is on Xbox One.
Me.
It was already on PlayStation 4. I don't know, but it can't wait.
Chat, it's my wife. Chat demands doggo.
Oh.
No, there's plenty of time.
Kevin, can we get the dog in here now? We can just put it in Gary's lap. You know what I mean? His wife's texting
I don't
him
know
what
if
the
she's
chat
going to
is
sit
saying.
still for very long.
Well, just long enough. I mean, she just did a walk by before. We can put her right
that
here.
Was when she was.
Bring her bed. We can put her in
agency.
the bed here. She won't stay on the. She won't sit in her bed.
She
will
might.
she?
Just lay down.
She might.
Bring me that bed then, Kevin.
Oh, poor fluffers. She just laid down and now we're going to disturb her?
She loves Cool Greg.
Luna is making her
Let's see
debut
if she
here
wants to come
on the
join us on the-
Kinda Funny Games Daily. Hey, no, Doggo.
Fluffs.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you're so sweet.
She's such a good dog.
Ah. 5 months old, you said?
It's about that, yeah. She was born in September, so yeah.
Adorable dog.
Yeah.
Just adorable.
Yeah.
It
Are you
just
going to sit still for the
She's
rest of the show?
melting into that bed. Hey, you want to smell the papers? It's fine.
This is going to be a big hit.
Oh, yeah.
If you had like a dial group right now, like a test audience, the dials would be...
Oh, I'm sure the chat is.
The chat's
yeah.
super side. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Audio listeners not too stoked, but you know what?
Hey.
Sorry, guys. You got to, give us the second views, Kevin says.
She has no idea.
I got
She
new
must be
dates
so
for you.
confused.
New dates for you. The Persistence is coming to PlayStation VR on July 24th. It looks like a roguelike zombie kind of game. I'm into it. Stealth. Sounds cool. You're getting 2 new DualShock controller colors, Midnight Blue and Steel Black in March. Hollow Knight is getting DLC called Gods and Glory. It's coming in early 2018. Don't jump. Don't jump. Rocket League's February update is coming out on February 7th. And then I'm going to give you a long read here because friend of Kinda Funny, David Brevik, has news. 2 years after founding his one-man studio known as Graybeard Games, industry luminary David Brevik has returned, set to debut his first major release since 2013. Coming to Steam later this year, It Lurks Below combines Brevik's love for the creative spirit behind such titles as Terraria and Minecraft with the revolutionary RPG mechanics he himself conceptualized for Diablo, all with a delightfully indie/retro aesthetic. Those curious to see what exactly lurks below can tune into Twitch this weekend to view a closed beta comprised of 200 players experiencing the game for the first time, except for Brevik, of course, who has spent many months with the game and will also be streaming it. The closed beta begins Friday, February 2nd and ends Monday evening, February 5th. All participants who are actively encouraged to stream the game via Twitch, and Brevik will be doing so himself at the following times on twitch.tv/graybeardgames.
I love the name of that company, Graybeard Games.
Yeah, well,
like you know exactly what you're going to get.
It
don't
hit
you?
the logo is just Dave's face, and he's got the gray beard. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant stuff. Of course, David Brevik, one of the guys made Diablo. Of course, Diablo 2 I think was his big one, and then Marvel Heroes when they originally launched Marvel Heroes.
Oh, nice.
So he's been around.
Good pedigree.
He's been kicking around since the Up at Noon days, just like yourself.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe one day. Well, he's not gonna have time to come in here and be a co-host. No. Won't bring his dog for sure.
Who else has brought a super cute puppy onto this show?
I have.
Well, yeah, but you're.
Portillo looks like a puppy all the time. You know what I mean? Last days. Wow.
That's mean.
No, well, I mean it's true. He's old. He's 13 in the summer. I don't feel like we're in the last days of Portillo. He's very active.
All right. Well, okay. Last year.
I think it's
Years. Does that
it's
make you
either gonna
happy?
I'm gonna wake up
You're
one day
lying
and he's
yourself.
dead,
You're lying to
or
yourself.
he's going to
That's-
have that slow dramatic
God,
decline
I
where he
really
can't hold the
hope-
poop together.
I hope you wake up one day and he's dead. Because if you have to put him down, that's going to take a lot out of you.
Well, yeah, either way, it's not going to be a good day.
Oh no, yeah, nobody thinks
it's
it's gonna
never
be.
a good day.
But like we're all gonna feel it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, the whole community, the entire internet.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Deals of the day for you. PlayStation Plus games for February have been announced. In February, you'll be able to get Knack on PlayStation 4, Rime on PlayStation 4, Spelunker HD on PS3, Mugen Soul Z on PlayStation 3, Exile's End on Vita, Grand Kingdom on Vita, which is also a PlayStation 4 game.
I gotta say, she's remarkably chill.
I have this effect on dogs. You know what I mean?
You
They get in here and
vibes.
they know that I'm the alpha dog, and they know if I'm sitting, they should sit too.
Oh, is that what it is?
Time for reader mail, but first I'm going to tell you it's brought to you by MeUndies and Pro Flowers. You want to look good with your significant other this Valentine's Day, right? Then check out MeUndies Matching Pairs, a unique, fun gift for you and your Valentine. They're the perfect balance of comfortable fit and exciting prints. Don't spend another Valentine's Day giving the same old gift. Check out MeUndies.com and find the best match for your match. I like that. Of course, I wear MeUndies. Would you like to see my undies?
Now?
Yeah. It's happening right now. Another thing you audio listeners also miss.
Keep on.
No, it's fine.
No, Greg.
Look, I got fun prints. It's flags. Gary, that's your
Oh,
flag, isn't
Gary,
it? No,
look.
well, yeah, that's it. That's
There
great.
we go.
It's yours.
That's
You,
great,
you've
Britain.
besmirched the flag of my great nation.
No, I love my MeUndies. They're super comfortable. I like them so much that I sold Jen on them. We did not get to use this deal that I'm going to offer you in a second. They're fantastic. So I suggest you do this. This Valentine's Day, you can go to MeUndies.com/games and get your partner a gift that's perfect for both of you. Order by February 5th at 10 a.m. and get free standard shipping so your gift arrives on time. There's a 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Right now, MeUndies has an exclusive Valentine's Day offer for you and my listeners as Gary gets licked by his dog.
People listening to the podcast right now.
Yeah.
This is a great advertisement to get
they're
on
like,
the video.
oh, I just have to listen
you
to the
miss
ad.
this
but, yeah.
adorable puppy stuff happening, and they're not seeing it.
For any first-time purchasers, when you purchase MeUndies matching pairs, you get 20% off and free shipping. Get 20% off matching undies for you and your significant other, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee at MeUndies.com/games. This will be the best Valentine's Day gift you will give. Start matching your bottom half to your better half. Go to MeUndies.com/games right now. Our other, first off, you gonna buy these now for you and your
Well,
wife?
I gotta say, like I said, I'm under no obligation at all to going to go along
No.
with your little sales pitch here. But I will say that after you first did this, I had a bunch of people on Twitter saying to me that they have those undies and they
Yeah.
really like them.
I do. Yeah, they're great. Our other one is Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries. Pro Flowers and Sherry Berries have teamed up to help you really impress your Valentine this year with their perfectly paired collection. Go ahead and think inside the box this Valentine's Day. This really is a one-of-a-kind gift. Your flowers and dipped strawberries will arrive together in a beautiful, specially designed box that will keep your flowers fresh and your berries cold, guaranteed. Right now, my listeners can save 20% off one of their perfectly paired combinations or any other gift over $29 with the promo code KF. That's proflowers.com/KF. Or no. Proflowers.com, then the code KF. Did these get sent to the office, Kevin?
Yeah.
Did we eat all the berries, Kevin?
Oh my God, so quick. I don't think you had any.
I had 2.
Oh.
I think I ate more than you.
Yeah, I only had one.
Yeah, they're delicious. Have you ever had Sherry's berries?
No, I'm not a fan of the dipped berry thing. Just give me chocolates. I don't.
No,
Are you a fan of flowers?
I mean, I like looking at them, but I don't necessarily need people to give me.
Well, they come in a
flowers.
cool box with flowers, and the flowers are good too. I brought those home to Jen. She loved them. Sorry, everybody else, I didn't get you anything. You can pick your delivery date, and it's guaranteed. Customer satisfaction is always number one, or your money back. There's only one way to get 20% off a perfectly paired gift over $29, featuring beautiful blooms from Pro Flowers. Let's go. And the berries from Sherry. Go to proflowers.com today. Enter the code KF at checkout. Proflowers.com. Code KF.
I just noticed we have a dog cam going now.
Oh, I saw Kevin messing
Ariel
around.
dog
I didn't
cam.
understand we were getting dog cam up in this piece.
dog
Good job. Aren't you happy the switcher's back?
Yeah.
Now it gives you
I
fun.
missed it so much.
This is I'm sorry, audio listeners. This is a very visual episode now.
Yeah.
You learned.
Sure.
You learned. From now on, take your phone, watch it on YouTube, and put it on your dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
It solves all the problems.
Yep.
Because then if you're driving and we say, hey, look, this is interesting, you can look at it.
Don't look too long.
I mean, who are we to say?
Just
Really?
a glance.
New York Potato Grower wrote into kindoffunny.com/KFGD.
New York Potato Grower. That's his name.
Yep.
Okay.
I read the question before I read the name. It'll make sense in a second. Wrote into kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, "What's the skinny KFGD? I just want to shout out how you all are thinking small potatoes about this Xbox Game Pass. Making a comparison to Netflix is the best way to see how this is viable for the big X. No one says this, but if Nintendo can. Anyways. Taking subscription models in general, it guarantees profit on a monthly basis. Taking Netflix as an example, they have about 100 million subscribers. 100 million times $12 equals $1,200 million, not including taxes and fees. So, if they
assuming every single person signs up.
Yeah, well, they have to, right? If they have 1 million subscribers. So if they make something like Bright, which is panned, or House of Cards, which people liked once, it doesn't matter if 5 people or 50% of the viewership watches, because they make $1 million monthly no matter what. And he's playing fast and loose with the numbers, but you understand what he's laying out here. Xbox Game Pass has the same power working for it. Big potatoes, big potatoes. Let's assume there are 30 million Xboxes and only 20% of people have Game Pass. That's 6 million times 10. That's $60 million. This isn't including how much they make off of gold, mind you, or what they make on Microsoft's other ventures. 60 million isn't game budget big, but it's guaranteed money that could get even bigger, coupled with the rumor about EA and Valve. They don't need to buy any of these companies. Just get their games to release day and date on Game Pass. Not exclusively, just in addition to the conventional release. So when non-potato Joe Schmo is looking to buy Anthem, and Xbox has got it in the $10 entry fee, and PlayStation 4 and GameStop have it at $60 with microtransactions, still, the $10 with microtransactions seems less egregious. This sells systems, trickle-down economics, yada, yada, yada. So while others think this will make games worse, I see it as allowing more experimentation like Netflix and will bring us some great original content, as well as drawing third-party offerings in a way that can change the industry. So, think big potatoes next time and grab a bag before you head home. Keep up the good work and get out of here. New York Potato Grower.
You know what might be an interesting way to drive people to Game Pass? I mean, what they're doing with the first-party exclusives coming to Game Pass, that's obviously a really compelling selling point. What I would like to see is kind of bring back some form of Xbox Live Arcade, but make it exclusive to Game Pass. So you want an arcade? Subscribe to Game Pass every month. You'll only get these games. You wouldn't be able to buy them a la carte. They would only be available through.
We were talking about this yesterday because that was my first time with Andrea, so it was my first time to talk to her about the Game Pass news, which I think is brilliant. Yeah. I think this first party stuff's a brilliant
I love
idea.
it. Yeah,
kids are worried. Some of the kids writing in are worried about the fact that if this happens, then Xbox is just going to take any old game and shove it into this Game Pass library to try to make it act like they have all these games, and then they're not going to invest money into the games they're bringing in, so then Game Pass's quality is going to... And I don't buy it. They're comparing it to Netflix in the way that a lot of Netflix is garbage. But then, there are standouts.
A lot of Netflix is great stuff, too.
I agree. And that's what New York Potato Grower is talking about, is the fact... I think he's on the same page here, is the fact that you're bringing in that much money. I think that only makes Game Pass better. And yeah, there's going to be bad games on Game Pass, but I would argue there's bad games on Game Pass now. This is just too cute.
I know,
this dog. Is this all she does? Is just cuddle you now?
If you're on the audio podcast right now, you're missing some good stuff.
Yeah.
This is also the first time I've seen you kind of adopt this more relaxed posture. I like this.
Well, here's the thing. What I like about I love Kind of Funny Games Daily. Probably, I mean, I'm not putting down any other shows. Probably one of my favorite shows to do because I feel like it's just got to be so organized and everything. But what I really appreciate about it is that every co-host in me, and every combination of any of the hosts, has its own unique vibe. And I feel like your shows with me often are the least listener maily, because I feel like you and I get into interesting discussions.
Least listener maily? So we generate the least listener mail?
No. We get a ton of listener mail, but I'm saying in an Andrea episode or a Tim episode, we're more likely, I feel like, to here's the question, here's the answer. All right, next question, and here's the answer. And not in a bad way, but we always have insightful conversations. Yeah. And so I like where we're at with this game. Yeah. I love Game Pass. I hope it. As I've said multiple times, I know I say this stuff over and over again. I cheer for Xbox. I think more than any other company, and I think this is their first time making an offensive maneuver. I think this is going to pay huge dividends to them, and I'm going to be fascinated to see what you're talking about. Of cool, hey, it's E3. Andrea thinks it'll be this E3 or maybe even GDC, where they come out and they're like, hey, guess what? We've signed up with these ID at Xbox people. These indie games are only going to be available in Xbox Game Pass.
I think it's a great idea.
My thing is, I would just wait a year, but I might be thinking too long. I would say let's get Sea of Thieves and State of Decay and all the stuff under our belt and convince people it's a good thing there, or at least one of them under our belt, and then be like, all right, here's your first exclusive. But I guess adding more value to the thing now You can't go wrong.
I think we might need Joey to come in and...
Joey!
She's very, very sweet, but she's a little bit squirmy right now.
Yeah.
I think she's a little bit...
I mean, she looks like a stuffed animal. You know what I mean? Or a child that's just passed out after a baseball game in your arms.
You can hold her like a baby.
Yeah.
Give her little belly scratches, but I think she's a little bit too...
Thank you, Joey.
There we go.
Official...
Have a fluff.
Official puppy sitting.
Yeah, official
Puppy wrangler.
I like the time while you were gone where somebody was like that puppy sitting Portillo was like part of your job.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no, we didn't hire Joey to do that or whatever.
Volunteered. I heard it.
She did?
I think it's partly, Greg, because I miss the... I know that have never been as much of an Xbox person, but I miss the Xbox Live Arcade. Brand.
Oh, man.
I miss Summer of Arcade.
Summer of Arcade was awesome.
Now, the games didn't go away. There's still a great, thriving indie scene on Xbox Live, and those are games that could easily be branded Xbox Live Arcade. I just missed it. I liked when they lived under that banner. I liked when they did Summer of Arcade and those kind of seasonal events. And this might be a cool way to bring it back as a subscription-based service.
Well, what you love to see, right, is... Well, I think the reason that when we think about Xbox and we like, oh man, remember how great Summer of Arcade was and remember how great they were on Xbox Live Arcade?
Yeah.
It was because they had the market cornered back then and they were doing something different. Whereas I really think like Nintendo got so much juice early in the year with Nindies, where they're like, hey, guess what? Here's 65 independent games that are coming. And I was talking about this yesterday with Rocco, actually. The fact that suddenly, I feel like, PlayStation 4 started and it got its huge start with the fact of, hey, it's easier to develop for everybody come. And at their event, here's a bunch of indie games we're putting out there. And Attaboys and Geo are up there talking about great indie games coming. Now I feel like that momentum of indie games it went from Xbox with Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation 4 to launch, and now to Switch, where every day I feel like I get between 2 and 4 indie developers like, hey, here's a code for our game. It's coming up on Switch this week. Like I just downloaded a whole bunch of new stuff that's coming out and I'm on the plane again on Friday where I'm like, awesome. Like this is rad, but it's also, I feel like I put down my Switch when I say this, but I'm so much more likely to play those games on Switch than I am to play them on my PlayStation 4. Because like when I get home, it's like, oh cool, let's play Monster Hunter. All right, Kevin, let's jump in and do this. Or let's play PUBG on Xbox One. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting into experiences I can only get there. Whereas I look over there and I still have Iconoclast, which I've started and I haven't talked about in the shows. Iconoclast is awesome. Started on my PlayStation 4, I like it a lot. But I see it next to Monster Hunter. I'm like, well, I got to play Monster Hunter. And granted, it's what I'm in the mood for. But then when I'm on the plane, since Monster Hunter's not there, that big HD, 4K, whatever you want to call it, AAA experience isn't there. I'm like, yeah, let's try all these different games. I bought Battle Chef Brigade and I'm playing Celeste and I want to get back. I played the Blossom Tales Zelda one that was really fun and really awesome too. Like that's where I'm like doing the taster platter of trying all these different things and playing for hours on these indie games.
So if there's an indie game that comes out now and it's on multiple platforms, as most of them are, given unless there's some real reason why it's like a less good version on Switch, are you more likely to buy it on Switch because of the portability?
I think so. I think it's just honestly, and this is where you're gonna laugh in my face, of course. It comes down to how the trophies will be too. Like here, because the thing with Celeste is I love it. So good. We're gonna talk about it on Gamescast this week. It's hard. And so like when I started playing it and got into it, I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm never gonna have the skill set I feel to go in and platinum this. So I'm not even going to worry about it. Why would I worry about the few trophies I pick up off of it?
Right.
Yeah.
So you'd rather have the portability.
Yeah, rather have that. It's Nintendo, and it feels like, you know what I mean? Like, it runs great, and it looks good, and I can play it on the little screen or play it wherever I want.
There's not really any... at this point, it seems like, given that I think Xbox and PlayStation have always had great indie support, now that Nintendo has kind of caught up, like, I don't think you could say, like, could you say which... If somebody said to you, like, I love to play indie games, which console should I get? Like, I usually it's kind of a wash, isn't it, at this point?
You're going to be fine. It is that thing where... Even if somebody usually has an exclusivity window, that'll expire and it'll be everywhere eventually.
And I think part of the reason why you are seeing so much activity on the Switch side now is not just multi-platform games now coming to the Switch as well. Like Celeste is not just on the Switch, right?
No,
it's
not
on multiple platforms. But I think you're seeing a lot of game developers brushing off the old favorites. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see Jonathan Blow bring Braid to the Switch at some point. Yeah. A lot of games, like I'm waiting to see kind of like Limbo and Inside and games like that coming
I just downloaded Night in the Woods yesterday. Right. I got the code for that.
So all of these games that you thought their effective kind of shelf life was done, now potentially have a new lease of life on the Switch with a whole new audience that might not have seen them before.
And it's the argument you keep seeing in this headline, you keep seeing this news story, developers saying that our Switch sales are more than all of our other platforms combined. Because I feel like it's I'm not alone in this. We're not alone in this. And the fact that I have a Switch and I'm going somewhere or I'm playing at home or whatever, and oh, look, new things came out and they're colorful and bright and they're indie games, and I'll take a shot here. Whereas I feel like on the major consoles, you're more locked into, I'm waiting for the next big title. I'm waiting for God of War. I'm waiting for, I want to throw an Xbox One here, but I don't think State of Decay fits or Sea of Thieves really fits. But I'm waiting for that Destiny 2 expansion. I'm waiting for the big thing. And that those big things overshadow the little things so much easier.
I think it's great. If you're like a legacy kind of hardcore, like Nintendo's what you've always played.
Yeah.
I think you've always had great games. Obviously, the Nintendo first-party games have always been great. There's always been like decent, if not great, third-party support and a bunch of decent games out there. But there's never really been like an indie scene on Nintendo because it was a pretty closed platform and there was a lot of shitty shovelware out there. But there was never like a vibrant indie scene in the way that there was obviously on PC and on the other consoles. So if you're a Nintendo gamer, this is like a whole new world of an entire genre of games that you'd never played before that is now, slowly kind of unfolding before you. And I think it's great.
Yeah, 100%.
Celeste is really hard.
I was going to jump to Carmen's question here. Carmen writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, hello, KFGD hosts and crew. That's you, Kevin. You're the crew. I've been playing Celeste and enjoying the difficulty level so far. 470 deaths on the hotel stage. Ugh. I'm glad I'm not alone on that, by the way. BTW. I felt like, I'm doing less than 100 deaths on the first two stages. Then I got to the hotel stage, saw my 500 deaths, and I was like, ugh. And then I saw you here, Carmen. I saw Cooper, a guy from Heel Kick, tweeting out his numbers that were bad too. I was like, all right, good. Anyways, I was thinking about what makes a game challenging and what types of challenges are considered fun. For example, in RPGs, I like bosses with high hit points or high defense so that you really have to grind for the win. In Celeste, I love the tricky, precise platforming as well as logic puzzles. On the other hand, I don't like checkpoint starvation. It's no fun replaying the parts you're good at just to get hung up on the last 5 seconds of a stage each time. What challenges do you guys enjoy in games, and which games employ them well? What kinds of challenges do you not like and why? Have you played Celeste at all?
No, I've been
buddy.
I've been hovering on it because I've been reading great things about it, and it's very much the kind of game that I would like.
Yeah,
like an old school kind
platformer,
of chiptunesy 8-bit retro.
Oh my god,
type
the
platformer.
music! Oh my god.
But I keep on the one hand, I keep reading about how difficult it is, and I do get frustrated with overly difficult games quite easily. Like, as much as I liked the look of something like Super Meat Boy, I don't think I ever would have played it. I just would have found it too punishing. I'd read an interesting, I think it was Patrick Klepek wrote a piece about it, who said that the game is really hard, but but not in a punishing way, and it actually kind of encourages you to keep going even as you keep
100%
dying.
The thing, Cuphead, right? I played at events and I was like, this is great. I'm terrible at it. And then when it came out and everybody's like, it's super hard, it was a huge turnoff for me. And I've never gone into play it, even though Tim's like, you should play it. Celeste, what Celeste gets right for me is that I like Super Meat Boy a lot. What Celeste gets right is it's all micro challenges, if that makes sense. So what Carmen's talking about in terms of doing everything perfect in a level, and then when you get screwed over in the last 5 seconds, that's not what Celeste is doing. Celeste is very much like, here's this screen or here's this room. You go through, you die, you immediately respawn. Like, there's no loading screens. Bam, 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 bam. You're right back into it. So you start doing the muscle memory part of it of like, okay, well, I know how to do that now, blah, blah, blah. And then you get through it, and it's been a challenge, and maybe it took you 10 minutes to do this one screen. You get through it, and you're immediately checkpoint now that next screen. And so it is, okay, cool, there's levels and there's chapters, but it very much is like, I was in the plane and we were landing, and the hotel boss he's talking about was kicking my ass. And it must have been 30 minutes of me trying to get through this boss fight. And it was, but it was like, I know what I did wrong. I slowly discovering, all right, cool. When he does this, I need to stop what I'm doing and jump. You know what I mean?
So it's a lot of trial and error.
It is, but you feel like you're making progress even when it seems like you're just dying over and
over.
I
like the idea of the death counter. That's not an idea I think I've seen before. And it's kind of, it's almost like a badge of honor, like how many times you've died in the game. Yeah. And also it's a way of saying, like, oh, I did it I only died twice or whatever. It's a nice way to say how good you were at the game.
The other thing for a Feather and Celeste cap is they have an assist mode that you can turn on whenever you want to.
And what does that do?
Well, when you turn it on, I love it. There's a message from the developers that's like, hey, we think this game is challenging. We think the difficulty is part of the story and the experience, because there is this.
It's a game about striving.
You're trying to climb a mountain, right?
Odds,
so like the success. They're like, but we want this to be accessible. So we've put in assist mode here. If you want to use it, fine. We'd love it if you didn't use it your second playthrough, but whatever. It's God mode. It slows down the game speed. So like if it is that, because there's a lot of jumps you have to like, you do your little like shadow jump or whatever, all this stuff too, that are like, you have to do it really, really quickly. But this is very much like if that's moving too quick for you, you can dial it back, still have that challenge, but have it be slower.
Well, I like that approach a lot, and I think you might have talked me into buying the game. Not because I feel like, oh great, I'll just go play on assist mode. I would certainly play it. I love the idea that the difficulty of the game is actually kind of thematically tied to the storyline, because as I understand, the story is about someone challenging and it's striving against really, really difficult odds. So I love that, but I also think that having that mode as a fallback, that accessibility is really important. Like I said, I didn't play Super Meat Boy because I played it a little. I played it enough to know this is too challenging for me. Like it's too frustrating. It's like, have you seen this thing Trap Adventure 2? Well, like the game, I'll have to show it to you after the show.
Oh wait, is this the one I saw of like it looks like Mario?
Yeah, it's like a little platformer, but it's so like outrageously punishing that's kind of the gimmick. That it's ridiculously hard to play. And again, don't forget, there are plenty of hardcore gamers out there who want Cuphead, who want Celeste, who want games that are punishingly difficult because they are really, really good at games. Yeah, and they may actually feel underserved by a lot of games that kind of lead you by the nose through the games and everything's kind of dialed. It's like a lot of games have scalable difficulty, but even at the harder levels, there's a certain percentage of players that think, I need more. I need more challenge. Right. And Celeste offers that, but because it has an assist mode, it doesn't freeze out people like me. Because I want to experience. This is where I've been torn. I love the vibe, the kind of the 8-bit kind of throwback.
Story's really cute. The writing's really good,
and I love the story. I love the idea of the story, and it seems like there's a lot of stuff going on there that I would find interesting, but the difficulty might put me off. So, but add this mode in as well, and now I get to experience all the stuff I'm interested in without having to get frustrated. Yeah. But I'll play it on regular difficulty first, for sure.
Sure. I want you to play it.
I'm going to try it.
Report back to me.
I'm going to try it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD giving me name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a game. Also, Gary, this is where you go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and start getting your wrong ready. I heard Tim let you off the hook.
I don't have a device. I need a device.
Gary.
You said let me off the hook. You've never once given it to me to read. No.
Yes, I have.
Did you give it to me to read
the last time I was on, I gave it to you to read, and then people were telling me...
Oh, no, I remember.
And then they were saying that Tim wasn't making you do it, and you were
you only did that. But I've done lots of shows with you. And I've only read off the.
Well, I know, but I'm saying the last one we did. You know what I mean?
I'll do it this time.
All right, hold on. There you go.
Well, get me set up.
Loaded up. Anyways, squad up. Okay. DJ Speed 9 needs help on his Nintendo Switch. His Switch username, god damn it, is SW778757679760. DJ Speed 9 says, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I want to do expert missions, battles, parallel quests. I just want someone to play with. Thanks, guys. First time writing in after about 1.5 years of listening. Love everything you guys do. Fully deserve my $2 a month. Thank you very, very much. Kevin, you have a question?
Yeah, just real quick. I don't know if people know this, but in the description is the squad up. So if
you nice! I didn't know you do that.
Yeah.
Oh, what a nice little boy you are.
No, that's.
Do you do it on everything, YouTube and the podcast? What a cherub of a boy you are.
Well, the podcast, that's a newer thing.
Beautiful cherub-cheeked boy.
Okay.
You're flying around. I'm not even going to read it again then. Just go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or maybe. What? They're not. No one's listening.
Writing it down.
No one's writing. SW778757679760. If you're watching live on Twitch, you know what I'm going to say. Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screwed up. Gary, what did we screw up today?
Well, first of all, I don't know if anyone else got it on here, but I'm going to correct myself. I think earlier they said that Nolan Bushnell created the pet rock. I believe that's wrong.
Kevin tried to throw something up earlier.
But I feel like he had some association with it, like he invested in the company or something. I don't know.
Maybe he made the first rock. Maybe I'm
just getting it mixed up. Maybe I'm just getting Chuck E. Cheese and Pet Rock mixed up. I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay, so do I read out the name of the person who's saying you're wrong, or just the okay?
So blank says we.
Snarky Starkey says
Trevor Starkey. Okay.
The first Pioneer Award did not, in fact, go to Daniel Boone. Greg,
thank you.
It was awarded. I'm going to try and do this in the most condescending
tone possible. That's how Trevor talks.
It was awarded in 2007 to Ralph Baer as the father of video games and developer of the Magnavox Odyssey. Prior to the 2007 awards, this was known as the First Penguin Award, which was originally awarded in 2000 to Chip Morningstar and Randy Farmer for their work on Lucasfilm's early MMORPG Habitat.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thanks, Trevor.
The more you know. Ghost Monkey X23 writes, Gary saw his adorable dog and did not immediately pick up and love on the precious pooch. Okay, technically, I guess that is wrong.
You're wrong.
I shouldn't
You're
have done.
wrong,
I
yeah.
should have gone in right
A dog's
away.
got to learn about a
I
hard
wanted
day's
to make
work
sure
somewhere.
that she was settled. There's bright lights, and it's
Sure.
all very strange for her. She's still a baby. Let's see. It seems like Battlefront 2 might have sold 7 million copies, not 9 million. There's a source, but I don't want to click on the link because it's going to take me away from this.
Okay, cool.
This page. EA bought Respawn because of the right of first refusal. I don't want to read this one. Okay, kebabs. Oh, we've had kebabs before, right? Or is it
Kebabs.
and it's kebabs.
Yeah.
It's kebabs.
But he spells it kebabs.
Actually answered my question. So the Wii U sold 3.5 million units in its first fiscal year. The Switch sold 10 million in the first 10 months. And on points 2 and 3, on the Vita not connecting to the PS4, the PSP can, since it's treated like a USB drive.
Yeah.
But does that mean you can't throw the PSP games up on the big screen?
Oh, no.
Okay. That's what's missing. Is that that's the magic of the Switch, is the docking and the big screen and
1,000%. I mean, that was always the question with the Vita, is like, why doesn't it have an HDMI port? Why wouldn't you want to just plug it in?
You never would have guessed what SART actually stands for.
Sonic?
Well, I'll give you that one as a
Thank
freebie.
you. And?
All-Stars Racing Transformed.
Oh, Jesus God. All right, thank
You're never
you.
going to take on Mario Kart with shitty names like that, are you? Let's see. Frutakia 1. Frutakia was a slot machine. Oh, then hence the fruit, I guess.
Okay.
Was a slot machine style game for mobile devices. Given its focus on mobile, that is likely why no one heard of it. That's
Gotcha.
from Capitalist Pig, who needs to learn how to use apostrophes.
Ooh.
Sorry, is that mean of me?
No.
I'm a former editor. Anytime I see an apostrophe in the wrong place, it's like a fucking needle in my eye.
yeah,
I just can't not see it.
When they
Xbox
go
still,
like, we're talking about the 90s and they go 90 apostrophe S, it's
just
like,
don't even start. Big Daddy Wolf writes, Xbox still does Summer Spotlight every year. It's the same thing as Summer Arcade.
But
So
it's not the same. It doesn't have the juice is what we're
Doesn't feel
talking
the
about.
same.
No,
The
we were saying
branding-
it exists.
The branding
yeah.
is what matters. And then one last one. Big Daddy Wolf again writes, every boss fight in Cuphead can be done in 2 minutes, so replaying over and over again isn't that bad.
Yeah, but I mean, then I hear Tim's horror stories of the
That
fucking
sounds
dice
like
roll boss.
there's a bit of an area of superiority. Like, well, I can do it in 2 minutes. You must be inferior. I'm not sure how I feel
Probably,
about that.
probably, yeah.
Let me just do a
Celeste
quick
is just
refresh here, see
better.
if there's any new ones,
I don't know if it is.
or if we.
I haven't played the other ones. I guess it can't be. We'll see.
Okay, a couple more. Just came in. Let's see. Okay. You didn't. I saw that you tweeted out about this, but it doesn't hurt to kind of signal boost it. I wrote in today hoping Greg would share some goodwill. Perhaps he missed it. I'm sure he gets lots of reader mail every day. Can the best friends please use the hashtag #BellLet'sTalk on Twitter today? Bell Media here in Canada will donate 5 cents to mental health awareness for every tweet containing this hashtag. Good cause. You did tweet it out.
I did tweet it
today.
out, yeah.
I retweeted it for you.
Yeah.
And it's a worthy cause, raising awareness of mental health issues and donating some money to those causes.
100%, yeah.
So we support that hashtag Bell.
Now, technically,
Let's
we're
talk.
not wrong. Technically,
No, we're not
we were
wrong.
wrong. Get out of here.
Again, when you don't get many of these, I feel like we've had a good show.
Yeah.
Blue Arrow writes, Spider-Man will be out in the end of June, and Detroit, I guess that's the David Cage game,
Yep.
Detroit,
Yeah.
in mid-September. Also,
Where's he? Was there? What is
I'm
there?
not quite sure what the point that he's making.
Was there a link? Is this breaking news?
Although I don't know, I'm just reading what's on the iPad.
You're just giving these kids.
Spider-Man will be out in end of June and Detroit in mid-September. Also, Days Gone out at end of November. I am all-knowing and have insider knowledge too. This just seems like
now he's just.
What is the point of this post?
He's just a
we
nut.
weren't even talking about any of these
He's
games.
just a nut on the street trying to yell
He's
this
just
out,
like a
acting
crazy
like
person,
he's got it. Yeah.
just shouting at me.
Son
as
of
like,
a bitch.
Sir, this is an Arby's drive-through.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. You can be part of the show at kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Send me your questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want to talk about in the world of video games. Then watch live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames or later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, or like so many of you, listen on podcast services around the globe. No matter where you get the show, thank you so much. If we did a good job today, consider going to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Bunch of perks over there, but even just $1 goes a long way to help us out and gets you cool things. Tomorrow, Andrea is my co-host on the show. Thank you. But for now, it's been our pleasure to serve you.